Welcome to your modules on growing your business. So I just realized I forgot to start screen sharing. Hold on a minute. There we go. Here we go. Evolving your business model as you evolve. Because the funniest thing to me is that people really out here believing that you start a business and then you figure it out one time and then that's it forever. That ain't how it works, baby. Okay. In the modern business world, the pressure to figure it out and then to stick with it is so intense. Entrepreneurs are conditioned to believe that if you change your mind, if you pivot your model, or if you evolve your audience, you are unstable, you are untrustworthy, or you are unfocused. Okay. And that is another lie that you believe and you buy into when it comes to patriarchy and capitalism in general as well, because patriarchy tells you that you're not worthy if you're not providing for people. Capitalism tells you that you're not worthy if you're not constantly going or spending or doing. And you being unsure about your next step, it deletes those beliefs. If you are unsure or you're wavering or you want to evolve, and then that could directly cut into how much money you're bringing home to your family, well, then you're not doing your patriarchal responsibilities. And for me, I'm someone who struggled for so long. I would just be like, okay, I finally figured it out. I finally know who I'm talking to. I'm going to stick with this forever. And then I would talk about it for 3 months and I'd be like, I'm ready to move on. Evolution is a natural part of who we are as humans, and it will happen in your business. And you need to give yourself permission to be able to do that. Okay. We are pushing back on the narrative that you have to just find your thing and stick to it without ever evolving. What if changing your mind was never the surest sign that, or like, what if it was the surest sign that you were growing? What if changing your mind was like, okay, I get it. I've changed my mind. That means that I'm growing. What if your pivot or your need to constantly pivot was proof that you've got emotional clarity and it didn't feel like you were confused about anything, right? This this aspect of learning, I lost my words there for a minute. This module is about diving into the psycho spiritual side of our entrepreneurship, the part of you that knows when something is off before you even have the words. And it honors your inner voice that tells you something isn't right anymore. And I am ready to evolve and to grow my business. And instead of shaming you into staying the same that you were, we're going to guide you into lovingly expanding your business. And we're going to cover that over 3 modules. So for the first module, I want to go through, and this is what the core framework is, which I haven't included this in some of the other modules, but recognizing that you're ready to grow, accepting it. I love that the screen share popped off right in the middle of me. The screen share has been so weird. Okay. Recognizing that you are ready to go, or like tuning into the signals of your misalignment, accepting that change is normal and that it will happen, and then deciding what your next step is going to be. So, in this first video, we're going to talk about how to recognize. Okay. This is where we normalize something that most of our business culture tells us to hide, which is when shit just stops feeling good. Okay. The moment when you feel unexcited about the work it is that you're doing, right? When you're starting to feel restless, when you're starting to feel resentful about the work that used to light you up. It certainly doesn't have anything to do with fucking laziness, right? That is a spiritual sign. That is a sign within your body. It's your growth knocking on your door, like, hey, we're ready to do something else. And we've been taught to shame that feeling, to just push through or to just suck it up or to just dig in because patriarchy needs us to provide for other people. And us growing and learning, that could take away from our money, and we can't have that. But I listen to you inside of this institute. And so I want you to tune into those subtle and not so subtle signs that your business needs to grow because you have grown. You're not the same person that you were 2 years ago. So why would you expect the same offer, the same audience, and the same processes to still fully fit into who you are? Right? So let me start with I restarted my Instagram page. I started a completely new Instagram page in March of 2024. My first Instagram page for my business was just so unaligned. It took me like a year and a half to get 1,000 followers. It felt like pulling teeth. Nobody bought from me. And it felt like I didn't really know what I was talking about. And in February of 2024, I got really clear that I wanted to help eldest daughters. And I thought, okay, this is it. I finally have this clarity. I want to help eldest daughters in their like healing era or whatever. So I started a whole new Instagram page. And then I had a reel go viral in May. And then I ended up getting like 22,000 followers there. And then around November of 2024, I kind of got bored with talking to eldest daughters. I learned that a lot of the eldest daughters that I was talking to, the way that I was positioning myself and messaging it, I was speaking to a lot of women who were perfectly content living in their sadness. I was speaking to their pain and I wasn't speaking to what it was that they really desired. And I also realized that I really enjoy helping entrepreneurs. I love helping entrepreneurs. And so I was like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And so that was when I pivoted into something even bigger and to where we are now, which is how the eldest daughter syndrome fits wholeheartedly into patriarchy and capitalism as a whole. And so I evolved. I didn't start my Instagram page over. I just started talking differently. I let my people know, listen, you can still work with me if you're an eldest daughter. Most of my female clients are eldest daughters, but I'm not just going to focus on that. And I had to honor that within myself that I was ready to evolve. I evolved at an insanely fast pace, like faster than anybody I know. I research, I learn quickly, I become an expert, and 3 months later, I'm ready to move on. I built this institute in the version that it is right now because this is what I'm embracing right now. By January of 26, who knows what I'm going to be talking about, but this will always be here because I know that I'm building this institute for something even greater. This institute might cover other things. Unlearning patriarchy and capitalism might just end up being one aspect of it, one major, if you will. There might be other majors that I build inside of this school. But business should be a mirror. It should reflect your evolution. And if you've evolved, your business model might be outdated. And that doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that you failed. It means that it served you. And now it's time for the next version of you. That's it. And I thought I was doing something wrong by seeing so many business coaches just their messaging is the same. I followed them for like 4 or 5 years and their messaging has been the same the entire time. And I'm like, why can't I find stability like that? It's not about that. Just because they might have evolved too, but their messaging stayed the same because they might be too afraid to evolve their messaging to go with it. How they actually coach people inside their work might have evolved, but they're too afraid to change their messaging. That's not on you. And that certainly wasn't on me to be like, well, I have to stay the same. No, my messaging evolves. I talk about what I feel like talking about when I feel like talking about it. And the people who are meant to work with me will work with me. That's it. But when you no longer feel good in your business, that's when it's time for you to change. It's time for you to evolve. It's time for you to grow. I'm not talking about traditional indicators of like being ready to grow, whether you're ready to hire someone or whether you're ready to, move locations. We're talking about you want more out of your business than you had 2 years ago, and you're ready to step into that now, giving yourself permission to do that. So, after this module, I want you to write down where in your work inside of your business do you feel stagnant? Do you feel uninspired? Or do you feel resistant to the work it is that you were doing? And ask yourself too, like, is this misalignment or is this burnout? Because it could be both, right? Burnout is a direct, burnout is a symptom of misalignment for sure, right? But is it just like, I just don't want to do this shit no more, okay? Ask yourself that. What am I ready to outgrow? Or not even what I'm ready to outgrow, what have I outgrown already? What am I still tolerating in this moment? Okay. And think about that before we go into module 2, which is how we're talking about how to learn, how to accept that change is always going to be the rule when it comes to growing a business, not the exception.